Hodling is no longer enough. If you want to get outsized returns within crypto, you can either trade yourself or play in like what is called the altcoin market, which is basically like a casino. Trying to pick which ones are going to pump and, sell before they dump is extremely hard. For most users, they don't want to have to worry about this stuff. They want to make some returns. They want to let someone else handle the trading for them or let an algorithm do it for them without the stress of everything that comes with it. That's where Tokenset comes in.
This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. This episode is brought to you by BNC Pro, the brand spanking new digital wealth platform featuring an all-in-one suite of customizable institutional grade applications that help you manage your crypto investments. Yes, research, chart, screen, analyze, optimize, report, and more. BNC Pro is the ultimate portfolio tool for individual or enterprise use. Streamline your workflow, manage your crypto, and master this brave new asset class your way with BNC Pro. Go to bnc-pro.com now to create your free account, or just look for the link in the show notes to this episode. Now, on with the show. Today's episode is a very special episode as I am joined by two guests today. We have Fran Strajnar on the show. Fran is the CEO of Techemy Capital, a regulated financial services provider and funds management business. And Techemy Capital is launching a new suite of DeFi-based investable products. And one of those products which launches this week is a set of 3 managed investment portfolios which are hosted on the Tokenset platform. So Fran is here to talk about these new DeFi products, and I also have Anthony Sassano from Tokenset also here on the show to give us the full background on what the Tokenset platform is and how that works. So welcome to the show, Fran, and welcome, Anthony.
Hey, Andy. Great to be here.
Hey, Andy. Thanks for having us.
So I thought the best way to record today's show, gentlemen, is perhaps first off, Fran, let's talk with you and let's just give the listeners some background on Techemy Capital and Techemy DeFi products, and then we'll get Anthony to talk more about DeFi and the Tokenset platform. So Fran, what's the quick background to Techemy Capital?
Techemy Capital's been around since 2017. It's in the business of proprietary trading, proprietary strategies, funds management, and we also facilitate a bit of OTC transactions for our clients. So having wound down a first fund expired a couple of months ago, and for the last 9 months we've been asking ourselves, well, what does Fund 2.0 look like? We've been investigating DeFi before the word kind of existed. We're working with the likes of Patrick Dugan on the Omni layer, or Omni protocol, which Tether was originally hosted on, and helped tweak his original decentralized exchange back in 2014. So all of these different concepts and ideas that we're seeing in the DeFi space now, their roots have been planted back in 2014. They've just come to market with a different name and they've been packaged up as investable products. Essentially, what we have as an environment in the industry now is one where the liquidity, the integrations, the infrastructure is finally good enough to have highly scalable, liquid financial products that are non-custodial. Right, you hold your own key. And so that's really exciting. We were on the hunt to find various technology partners to be able to roll out different tradable products. As you know, my other company, well, Brave New Coin, who you obviously work for, is in the business of building methodologies and indices to power exchange-traded product. That's more CeFi, but we definitely wanted to tap into the more decentralized realm. I think we spoke on a previous podcast about my worldview when it comes to crypto is you kind of have the use of blockchain replicating existing systems and procedures and shaving out inefficiencies and hopefully bringing a lot more transparency and also hopefully getting away from systemic risk, which is fraught and full in the legacy financial system. So you've got essentially the status quo, but with blockchain at one end of the spectrum. And then you have what I call unstoppable financial automata, where basically these decentralized autonomous organizations and decentralized financial products are globally scalable due to the very nature of them. So, the world's in the future is essentially a bit of a battle between CeFi and DeFi. Both are just as valid, and we're just very, very happy to see that the infrastructure, again, is such that we're able to start putting out what we believe are very interesting products.
Yes, Fran. And as you pointed out, and I think let's just make this context very clear for the listeners. So you're the CEO and the founder of Techemy Capital, which is, I guess, the umbrella company to Brave New Coin, which is obviously the publisher of this podcast and a provider of some of the best crypto data products in the space. But so I've been watching you, Fran, over the last probably 6 months or so. You've formed a DeFi team and you guys have been very busy over the last 6 months and we've all been watching this DeFi narrative start to play out and now you're at the point where you're ready to actually launch some investable products under Techemy Capital. So do you want to just really quickly outline what those products are?
Yeah, sure. So essentially we have two products. One is for ETH and the other is for Bitcoin, where they're essentially trading strategies designed to outperform Bitcoin itself. The value proposition is that a lot of people fail to time the market correctly, and simple hodling is not as lucrative as it used to be in the early days. So if you can essentially have professional money managers and traders correctly hedge, Bitcoin or Ethereum exposure at the right time, a lot of traders lose money and quite frankly don't know what they're doing. So unless you're really disciplined and got all your risks and controls in place, it can be a daunting task to execute correctly. So what we've got here is a non-custodial kind of trading strategy where anybody can essentially duck in and out and participate whenever they want to. The third product is of personal interest to me, and instead of chasing the volatility of Bitcoin or Ethereum, it focuses mainly on the yield that are produced from certain DeFi instruments. And so we've been we've been discussing structured income products for a very long time here at Techemy, at least since 2015. And we wanted to produce something that is in the legacy world called a principal insured structured income product. And so what that means is that your capital, you put $100 in, that is protected, the principal, and it's put to work and it's earning interest. But the beautiful thing about this product is that it's 100% liquid. It's instantly redeemable. Show me one hedge fund that does instant redemptions. Therefore, it's kind of the same risk profile to something like Tether. So would you rather be sitting on a stable coin, or would you rather be sitting on something that produces, even if it's 1% a year, we're hoping between 5 and 12, given the interest rates available in the industry at the moment. But yeah, it's a much more attractive value proposition than just sitting on essentially cash that's not earning you or doing anything, where you can earn an interest rate and then at any time yank it back out, at your leisure. So we think that's going to be hugely popular, and obviously there's a lot of interest in DeFi.
That's right. And so, Fran, really what these products enable the user to do is if someone is sitting on some Bitcoin or perhaps some ETH and they're holding those assets for maybe the long term, but then the idea is, well, what can I do to perhaps earn a little bit more of a yield on those assets, and this is certainly a means to do so. And the way that it works, of course, is that this is powered by the Tokenset platform. So maybe just before we bring in Anthony here, when did you guys at Techemy start looking around perhaps for other people to partner up with, and why was the Tokensets platform, why did you decide to go with those guys?
Yeah, sure. I mean, our options were basically to design and build through Blockchain Labs, another Techemy company, master smart contracts that facilitate our requirements. But there's a hell of a lot of nuances and development work and we saw that a number of projects and teams were building out decentralized funds management infrastructure. And we were just stunned by the functionality and the cadence of rolling out features. And our Paul Salisbury from Blockchain Labs took a deep dive into the tech and went, wow, this is great. We don't need to build everything from scratch ourselves. So it was a very easy decision. And, we'll stay agnostic. We're very excited to get the first products out the door with Tokensets, and we're undoubtedly roll out further products over the course of this year through the platform there. And we'll keep an eye out on different technology stacks. I mean, what I really want is multi-asset bundles so that we can create essentially decentralized ETFs or specific exposure to specific subclasses of this industry.
Fantastic. Well, we better just try and explain what Tokensets is. So let's bring in Anthony. Anthony, welcome to the show. Why don't you just quickly introduce yourself, your personal background, and then what SET protocol is, and of course the Tokensets platform.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, my name's Anthony Sassano. I've been in the Ethereum space for about 3.5 years now. I think early 2017 is when I kind of got into it all. I kind of was in Bitcoin earlier on in 2013-14, but after the price crash, kind of lost interest, which to my dismay was a really bad decision. But since then, in 2018, I launched the personal newsletter to try and just get more involved with the space. And then in 2019, that merged into what is called ETHub, which is an Ethereum information hub. We do like a newsletter and podcast and provide documentation on Ethereum, things like that. And then, spent a bit of time on Twitter, kind of like, I guess, made a name for myself on there. And that caught the attention of Felix, our CEO at SET. And he reached out to me in July of 2019 and said, hey, would you like to come on as a product marketing manager for SET? I'm like, well, of course. I've been looking for like a full-time gig in crypto or in Ethereum for a while, and especially in DeFi, because that's what I'm really excited about. So yeah, I joined the team in July of 2019. And since then, just been working as product marketing manager there. It's coming up on a year now, which has been really cool. So yeah, the Tokensets platform is, I think, a really unique platform within DeFi. There are a lot of platforms that do kind of these lending instruments and decentralized exchanges, which are things people are probably used to already from the centralized world. But where SET makes like a really big difference for a lot of people is it gives you basically a tokenized trading strategy, which, it can get quite complex, but the simple way of kind of explaining it is that by buying a SET, which is basically just like a token, like any other token on Ethereum, you get exposure to a trading strategy. So say you buy one of our most popular sets, which is the ETH RSI set. This one will kind of trade based on the ETH RSI indicator, and it will do it all automatically. You literally only have to buy the token through the Tokensets website, and once you've done that, you keep it in your wallet, and the rest of our system handles that for you. Like that right there, to me, is such a step up from what we've seen in the traditional world, and it's so unique as well to kind of crypto and Ethereum, and like something like this, I don't think could be done in the kind of like traditional world, because the infrastructure there is just like so much harder to work with, and it's also based on custody in the traditional world, which means regulations. Whereas with SET protocol, it's completely non-custodial. The funds are never accessed by us. We can't access any of the funds. The tokens can't be accessed by us. It's all controlled by the user, which helps us kind of leapfrog all of that sort of stuff and gets us to just basically making really cool products for our users. One distinction I will make between Tokensets and SET protocol is that Tokensets.com is the main interface / front end that our team builds. So that's centralized, like that's controlled by our team. We don't pretend that that's a decentralized platform. But in saying that, the SET protocol smart contracts that live on Ethereum are completely decentralized. They're open to everyone to build on. We still do retain admin control over the protocol because we build upgrades for the protocol, but that admin control doesn't give us access to more than it needs to, basically. So as I said, we don't have access to any of the user funds. So anyone can build on the SET protocol contracts, and we've seen that playing out already. We have popular mobile wallets like Argent building on our contracts. So they don't use token sets, they use the contracts directly. So they'll go straight to our contracts with their interface and mint a set or kind of sell a set or redeem a set that way. So then that's what we really want to see. We really want to see other kind of like teams and other products building on top of the set protocol system, and Tokenset just becomes the front end that we build out for users. But we want to see like hundreds of these things built out, and we even want to see as Fran and Techemy are bringing, the more kind of traditional world start being onboarded through set protocol and Tokensets.
Fantastic, Anthony. Well, let's just perhaps try and walk through the user experience, because you're exactly right. It is a little bit of a complex, the functionality is slightly hard to explain just on an audio podcast. But I think perhaps the easiest way to do that is if we use the two Techemy portfolios, so portfolio 1 and 2 as an example here. So the idea with these portfolios is, they're actively traded portfolios, and the idea with portfolio 1 is to get exposure to Bitcoin price action, and with portfolio 2, the idea is to get exposure to ETH price action. So why don't you just talk me through the process? So if I'm a user and I've got some ETH just in my wallet and I want to get exposure to one of these portfolios, what's the process? How do I do that, and what's happening?
Yeah. So if you were to use Tokensets, which is what most of our users will use, or pretty much all of them will use, especially for strategies offered by real humans, because we have two different strategy types. We have robo sets, which are completely automated strategies, and then we have social trading sets, which is what Techemy are going to be offering. So yeah, the process is very simple. You go to the Tokensets website. If you don't have an account yet, you simply click the sign in button, and there's a range of options that you can use to sign in. You can use Metamask, which is obviously the most popular Ethereum wallet, to sign in, which requires no kind of like email collection, none of that. You just click sign in and hit Metamask, and it'll automatically sign you in. Or you could use one of the other options. We have phone or email login, which uses the Fortmatic service, which I think got renamed recently to Magic, which is a really, really easy onboarding service for kind of complete, I guess, newbies to the crypto space. And we support a bunch of other wallets. So yeah, you basically have a wide variety of options when signing in. So we'll use Metamask as an example, because most people will be aware of what Metamask is. So once you've logged in with that, you'll have the Tokensets interface in front of you. You can click explore sets on the website and peruse all of the sets on there. There are different sections for the robo and social sets, and then you can have you can click on the trader section as well, which is where Techemy would be. So if you click on the trader section, click through to Techemy, you would be able to see their profile information and their sets. So let's say you click through to the Ethereum set, you would click on it. It would show up with a set page that has a description of the set, kind of like what its trading strategy is, what asset it's currently positioned in, with a nice chart of historical performance and all that stuff. So then you can just simply click the buy button, enter how much you want to purchase, click buy. There are no fees associated from Tokenset side, whereas the social traders themselves can set their own kind of fees. They can set buy fees, performance fees, or streaming fees, or a mixture of both. They're all explained on the website as well. And then buy, and then once the transaction goes through, that's literally it. You just have to, as I explained, sit on that token in your wallet, and Techemy will handle the rest of the work for you.
And Fran, why don't you just give us a little bit of background to what's actually happening here in terms of who is actually executing the trade and trying to outperform the market, and the case of these two portfolios with Bitcoin and ETH. Who's trading here?
Sure, yeah. They're really simple products. Basically, we hedge Bitcoin or ETH into a stable coin when things are overbought, and we buy back exposure when things are oversold. The full depiction of the trading strategy and the thesis and research behind it is available on Tokenset. Who's actually doing it? Well, it's a mixture of the trading team at our end. Listeners are probably familiar with Josh, 33K Moku, as he's called. Then there's Rob Brewers, who used to head up the oil trading at JP Morgan in Singapore. There's a couple of other traders that we're looking to onboard at the moment. To kick things off, it'll mainly be just Rob and Josh.
Yes, that's right. So again, it's just such a simple idea, really. And what I love about it is that, you know, it's non-custodial. So you're not handing over the control of your private keys or the control of your assets to a third party. They are just locked in a smart contract, and everything is visible on the blockchain, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, Techemy won't have control over any of the users' funds. Their only control they have is choosing when to do the trades, basically, and we call them rebalancers within the set protocol world.
That's right. You mentioned before, Anthony, that there's robo sets and there's social sets, right? So social sets that's effectively social trading or copy trading. So those are you know, real world people or real world traders, and if you elect to engage one of those sets, then you're following the price action or the trading action of that particular trader. Whereas the robo set is more of an automated algorithmic strategy. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So there's a very key difference there, in that with a social set, you're trusting a human to make the trades for you. You know, you're trusting that they know what they're doing, and they can kind of like you know, make you a return. Whereas with the robo set, you're trusting that the algorithm knows what it's doing, or you know, because we deploy the robo sets ourselves, so you're trusting that the strategy that we've come up with is going to be profitable. We provide back tests and all that for that stuff. And you know, these robo sets, they can't actually change once they've been deployed. They will trade how they're programmed to trade, because of the fact that it's you know, decentralized. We can't change these sets up from under people. So you can be confident that when you buy a robo set, that the strategy won't change and it'll do exactly as it's programmed to do.
Who's the target user here? Like, you know, I understand that obviously anyone who has crypto assets can come along and get started, but you know, just talk me through who the target market is really. Like, what sort of knowledge of trading or the wider crypto space does someone have to have?
Yeah, so we try to target people who don't typically have, you know, much trading knowledge, because, you know, if they were already professional traders or do trading like as either a full-time job or part-time kind of thing that they do, they would probably be doing it on their own, and they might even become a social trader, right? So the target really is these people, like, I guess, using me as an example, I'm not a trader. So, you know, I would buy into a set and let either the social trader or a robo set handle all that for me. But I think in general, we're trying to just start with like people in the Ethereum community at this stage, or in crypto, getting them into it, because there's a lot of people who want exposure to, you know, Ethereum and Bitcoin and some other tokens, and to stack more of those, as the saying goes, right? So we try to target anyone in crypto, and obviously the end goal is to go outside of crypto, and we're doing that through, you know, our work with Techemy and a few others out there too. But we do think that these products are built for everyone. There's no particular kind of person we're geared towards. It's more that even the traders can buy these products if they want to hedge their own strategies, or they want to follow their favorite social trader, for example. So yeah, we try to be as open as possible. We try to have a variety of strategies on the platform. That's why we launched social trading, because we figured, you know, the robo sets are really, really cool. There's a lot of awesome strategies, but look at all these strategies that these people use. How about we get them on the platform and let people kind of copy them? And yeah, that's been really popular as well, which has been really cool.
And with the social trading then, Anthony, because I know that, you know, if you are a professional trader and, you know, you think you've got what it takes to have a little bit of an edge on the market, then you can come along and sign up to be a trader on the Tokenset's platform. And obviously if you do well, then, you know, you'll earn fees from the people that follow you. But what sort of, is there, you know, what's the process is there a vetting process? You know, because I imagine you want a certain level of quality.
Yeah, so because, as I mentioned previously, the Tokenset's website is kind of our baby. It's you know, centralized within our control. We kind of control who gets put on that website from a social trader perspective. You know, these people could set up their own sets if they wanted to through our smart contracts, but the whole appeal is being on the Tokenset's website, right? So they'll go through a typical sign-up process where they'll fill out a form. We've had over 500 signups to this day from interested parties. I think it's even more than that. I haven't checked it in a little bit, but basically we do vet all of them. And the thing we're really looking for is people that have, a trading background, of course, secondly, a following, so that they can actually kind of drum up support for their set and get capital inflows. And we also love to work with traditional funds and traditional finance people who have been doing this stuff outside of crypto, especially. So that's what you'll see when you go to the Tokenset's website. Most of the traders tick one of those boxes. And, we've been progressively onboarding more and more professional traders since we've launched. And I think Techemy is one of the most professional traders we're going to have on the platform. So that's going to be really exciting. And we expect to onboard more and more of those as time goes on.
So when we're talking about social trading or copy trading, it's effectively the same service or product that is offered on platforms like eToro is probably one of the bigger copy trading platforms. So just to put this into context for the listeners, it's a similar service, but I suppose one of the probably the main key difference, of course, is that it's non-custodial, which is not the case with eToro. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I think eToro is probably famous for their social trading, especially in Europe. I know it's very popular there. It's not very much used in the West as well, in the US, and that's kind of like where we wanted to target because we thought that was an opportunity. But you're right, the main kind of difference is the fact that we're non-custodial. You don't have to trust anyone with your assets. You can just buy into it and kind of like only have to trust that they know what they're doing with their trades. And you have full visibility of that as well. All the trades are done on chain. They're not done in secret. You have the full visibility of what they're doing, their performance. And if you don't like what they're doing, you can simply sell. There's no blockers to selling. There's no waiting period, nothing like that, which I think is really cool.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'd love to get some thoughts from both of you just on what is happening in DeFi and maybe what your DeFi thesis is, and because there's just so much happening at the moment. Just before we do that, though, because there is so much happening in DeFi at the moment, everyone is starting to, engage with the ecosystem and start to play around with these different products. And all these different products are launching at the moment. We've seen Compound Finance and the launch of their Comp token last week. And suddenly, yield farming is a big topic at the moment. But I saw a tweet yesterday, and this is just a really good example of how much interest there is in DeFi at the moment, and in all the new products that are coming online, and Tokensets included. So a good example is Jason Williams. Jason is one of the founders at Morgan Creek Digital, along with Pomp and Mark Yusko. And so those three guys, like Mark, Pomp, and Jason, they're all very well known as being big Bitcoin guys, right? But I thought it was interesting because I saw yesterday Jason was tweeting about experimenting with DeFi. And so he posted a tweet showing that he put 20 grand into a set on Tokenset. So I think it was the Link Profit Taker set. And from what I could tell from the screenshots he tweeted, that seemed to be doing quite well for him. Did you see that tweet, Anthony? Yeah,
we saw that. And I kind of was the same as you. Those three guys are definitely known for being, Bitcoiners, being a lot more involved in the Bitcoin ecosystem. But it seems that Jason is branching out and trying to experiment with this DeFi stuff. And I actually think that has kind of been, there's been a paradigm kind of shift, or a shift in people's kind of mentality over the last week since we've seen this compound / comp farming, right? I'm seeing a lot more people from the Bitcoin side of things now getting interested in Ethereum and DeFi, which is something I haven't seen in, all the time that I've been within Ethereum. I haven't seen it to this magnitude, which, is really cool. And it's even cooler that Jason was experimenting with set and token sets and buying different ones. I think he also bought the 20-day moving average set as well. So yeah, we were really excited when we saw that.
Yeah, and Fran, what are your thoughts here? I think Anthony's exactly right. It feels like there's a bit of a momentum shift in terms of the narratives, and yeah, the Ethereum narrative is suddenly taking off again, and particularly with DeFi, right?
Well, again, it's that infrastructure that's now good enough to really program money and value. And that now includes entire strategies. You can essentially, to your earlier point, Andy, I'll give you a couple of practical examples. There's one guy, 65 years old, married, kids, largely retired, etc., called me up, wanted to buy some Bitcoin. So I set him up with a wallet. This was back in 2014. And he doesn't know when to buy and when to sell. He was just kind of like, well, look, here's a bunch of money. Can you put it to work? I want some exposure to this Bitcoin stuff, and you tell me when to sell it. So, of course, we, KYC, AML, credit investor checks, all that stuff through Techemy Capital. And there's a number of these types of users that, want to own some coin, don't know which coins to own, don't really want to hold on to them, custody them. So that's one persona. And then, others come along and they have coins and they're really excited about, interacting themselves with different products. But, they typically have full-time jobs and they're not traders. They just want to be able to essentially buy a product that is worked by professionals, and they can enter and exit at their discretion. Techemy Capital has been doing prop trading for about 18 months now. We returned something like 55% on the calendar year 2019, and it's better still year to date already. So we hope to bring a degree of confidence that allows users to essentially buy this product and sort of set it and forget it. Not worry about big drops and big increases, as hopefully we'll be able to capture the upside and mitigate away from the downside as much as possible.
Yes, indeed. And look, it also, it just feels like, it's very early with DeFi, but DeFi is certainly having a moment. And, also in the background, there's this narrative of the Robin Hood narrative, right? So there's all these, Gen Z kids or millennials even who have effectively discovered the joys, if you could call it the joys of, app-based stock trading through apps. And this has sort of happened over, the various stages of lockdown around the world. But you'd have to think that as these people get more comfortable and enticed by what's possible just via, various applications on their phone, and really that's what DeFi is, right? It's money Lego and all these different apps that are composable and just interconnected with each other. Something's happening here, right?
Yeah, money Lego is my favorite term. And, DeFi, there's a lot bundled into the term DeFi. The focus at the moment is around yield farming, and that's the latest craze, I suppose. But it really stems to digitizing value and then programming that value. Our friends in Japan, there's a big lack of financial products there. 63% of the wealth is owned by 60-plus-year-olds. There are no good financial products for the 20, 30, 40-year-olds, etc. Bitcoin came along and they gambled furiously, back in 2014, 15, so on and so forth. And then the regulators came in, the government sort of cleaned things up and put laws into place. This is a country with, very low, if not inverse interest rates, and there's a lot of money flying around the system, right? Globally, there's a lot of cash in individuals, high net worths, family offices, so on and so forth. And it's looking for somewhere to park its money, put the money to work. And so what DeFi essentially allows for is to automate and program your value. And what Tokenset has done is, just mind-blowing, because you've made the user interface, the front end, so dead simple. That you can basically, shop for a product and go, right, I'm interested in this particular strategy, or I trust this particular trader or group, and I get to hold my own key. So I'm going to park, 5% into a Tokenset and then review it. And hopefully it's something that allows me to, not worry about the ups and downs or whatever product you've selected.
Yes, and I think that's exactly right, Fran. It really is about the user experience, and for so long people have been fairly bearish on the crypto user experience. But these new products, and Tokensets is such a good example. It really is now possible to. It's really just activate a wallet and click a few buttons, and then you can be effectively copying some of the smartest traders in the space. And, you know, Anthony, I just sort of wonder, you know, once the, you know, the Robinhood users and all those guys start to discover what is possible on platforms like Tokensets, then, you know, things will get interesting. So, you know, I mean, to that point, what sort of interest or user growth are you starting to see? Are things starting to tick up?
Yeah, definitely. Over the last few months, we've seen the most growth within, I guess, like the protocol itself and the Tokenset's website, because a lot of the sets actually started getting some longer term performance. We launched the first, I guess we call them trend trading strategies in July of last year. Because before that, we just had simple buy and hold and range bound strategies. So our killer product is the trend trading robo sets. So we launched them back in July, and you know, obviously they didn't have any performance history. So people were like, okay, well, I don't know how this is going to go. And then over time, they built up performance history, and we've seen inflows because of that. And then in January of this year, we launched social trading, which just kind of put like a rocket booster underneath Tokensets, because not only does social trading let people, you know, offer their strategies, it also lets them kind of market their strategies and sell them, basically monetize their strategies. You know, there are traders that already do this via paid groups and things like that, but this actually gives their followers something to buy into. So they don't have to, you know, the followers don't have to go and try and copy this trader's strategy. They can just buy into it and sleep knowing that the trader will handle it all for them. And it's not like it's any more work for the trader, really. They just do what they normally do, which is trade and rebalance. Whereas the users will just, you know, buy in and sit on their kind of laurels and not have to really do anything. So because of that, we've seen, yeah, an explosion in growth in capital in the system. We went from basically, you know, a couple million, I think by end of last year in the protocol, to about 16 million last time I checked, locked in the protocol, and that just continues to grow. In terms of users, we see a lot of users we grow like by thousands each month, and that's actually really great for, I guess, the DeFi space, because it's still so small. You know, the way that we measure users is actually quite hard as well. People tend to measure it by on-chain transactions. So if a user's actually sent a transaction to the set protocol contracts, which basically means buying a set, then that's how you would count a user. But we have plenty of people coming to the site every day that we can see that obviously, you know, don't buy. Not everyone buys, but we have plenty of visitors coming to the site, and that's definitely growing month on month. You know, our general awareness is growing month on month. Like, obviously, as I work in the marketing space for Set, I keep track of all this stuff, and we keep onboarding more social traders. We have, you know, I think over 50 strategies, 50 sets on board now, and a lot of traders, I think over 20, and we're onboarding more every week at this pace. So yeah, it's still early days, but the growth has been incredible. And as I mentioned, I think there's been a shift over the last week or so where we're going to start bringing in more people, because I think, you know, the Ethereum space is quite small compared to the Bitcoin space still, just because of the nature of it. And Bitcoin is inherently simpler to understand, and it's been around longer. But I think when there is stuff like the compound yield farming and people making a lot of noise about that, people making money, it gets very hard to ignore what's happening. So I think that we're going to onboard this whole kind of set of new users through that, as well as onboarding more of the, I guess, people outside of crypto. And that's why we built Tokensets as easy to use as possible, because we want to be that kind of Robinhood, you know, for those people.
Fantastic. Well, let's start to finish off. Closing thoughts from you, Fran. You know, where can people go to check out the Techemy suite of DeFi products? And do you want to sort of, you know, give any hints as to the other Techemy DeFi products that are in the pipeline?
Yeah, so you can go to techemy.capital and check out our products there. And we can essentially design any financial instruments somebody wants. Such as, you know, an inverse swap or some kind of decentralized future swap option, etc. These are all possible now, which is the really exciting part. To give a hint in terms of what we're looking to roll out, we definitely want to produce structured income products. You know, there's a lot of people that just want to sit on something that earns yield, and they're willing to take dollars out of their bank account, buy a stable coin or DAI to be able to enjoy better interest rates than what their banks are currently offering. So we're going to put a lot of focus into those structured income products. And there's a massive need in the market for those. And then as further integrations and liquidity become available through Tokenset, we've got some ideas for some pretty interesting products. Again, it's sectorial kind of approach. I would love a product that represents exposure to crypto exchanges, basically bundling up every crypto exchange coin together as a basket. Index-based products in the crypto space are a bit fiddly, however, just simply because, Namecoin, Peercoin, Novacoin, those are all top 10 market cap in 2013, right? They don't really exist today. So you have to kind of do a lot of research to understand the longevity of particular assets. But the point is to essentially lean on the strengths of BNC's data and index benchmark administration and methodology construction, and combine it with the financial engineering of Techemy Capital. And somewhere in there is a sweet spot that allows us to roll out exchange-traded products in the real world and decentralized, tradable, investable products for different types of exposure to this industry, on the more DeFi front.
Well, it is certainly a very exciting time in crypto and particularly in DeFi. Let's have some closing thoughts from you, Anthony. Give us your elevator pitch. Why should someone holding some crypto assets take advantage of what you're offering on Tokensets?
Yeah, I think Fran actually hit on it earlier on in the podcast when he said that hodling is no longer enough. If you want to get like outsized returns within crypto, you can either go trade yourself, of course, or play in like what is called the altcoin market, which is basically like a casino. Trying to pick which ones are going to pump and sell before they dump is extremely hard. People try to make it look easy on Twitter. Definitely not easy. Obviously, from personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of listeners would have tried their hand at it as well. That's not to say that strategy can't be successful, but I think for most users, they just don't want to have to worry about this stuff. They want to make some returns. They want to let someone else handle the trading for them, or let an algorithm do it for them without the the stress of everything that comes with it. So that's where Tokensets comes in. That's where you just buy a set, sit on it in your wallet, let it sit there for a while, pick a holding period, let it sit, and then come back later and hopefully, you've made the returns you were after from that. And I think it's just a part of a diversified portfolio at the end of the day. You can buy a little bit of altcoins, you can buy a little bit of, Bitcoin and ETH, and then if you want, you can put a bit of it into a set strategy to grow those kind of, those returns over time. So that's my elevator pitch that I tell people. It's just like this hodling, you can keep holding and buying more, but the real kind of like returns and outsized returns come from being like a more active participant in these things, and this lets you be an active participant while being passive. If you kind of see what I'm going with there, these are active strategies. They actively trade, but you don't have to do anything. You just have to be a passive kind of investor.
Very nicely said. All right, well, thank you, gentlemen. This has been very informative and quite fun. So thanks very much, Fran, and thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Andy.
Yeah, thanks, Andy.
Okay, there you go. That was today's episode. Thank you to Fran from Techemy Capital and Anthony Sassano from Tokensets and the Set Protocol. Regular listeners, you may have noticed that we didn't do the hot take round in this episode, and I guess that's just because Fran's been on the show before, and I just wanted to keep this one focused on the Techemy Tokensets launch, which is what we've done. And so, speaking of which, links are of course in the show notes as always, but it's actually really easy to get started here. So the easy way to do it is just go to techemy.capital and you will see all the details there, or you can probably even go to tokensets.com, I imagine, and search for Techemy Capital in the different trader sets. It's just a kind of a no-brainer, easy way to get exposure to crypto price action without the stress of having to do all the trading yourself. Also, thank you to BNC Pro for sponsoring the crypto conversation. Links, of course, are also in the show notes to the BNC Pro wealth management platform. Okay, that was us. We're out of here. See you next time. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin.